Hi, my name's Carol Thompson, and I'm here today representing a brand new startup company in the medical supply industry called Patient Comfort. Our mission is to provide efficient, effective, easy, and inexpensive solutions to challenges faced by patients and their caregivers, all the while helping to maintain the patient's dignity and comfort. I'm looking for an investment of $200,000 for a 40% share in my company. I will also be personally investing $5,000 plus my time and energy. Imagine you are diagnosed with a serious illness. You have a really good medical team and a supportive family. However, they can't stop the symptoms from progressing. Then one day you discover you can't swallow very well anymore, so the doctor says it's time to get a PEG, which is another name for a feeding tube in your stomach. As you're recovering from the surgery in the hospital, the nurse comes to your family and you and shows you how to use the feeding tube for feeding and then to clean it. And then you take medical tape and just tape it to your torso. You're going to be doing this 5 times a day. Each time, take the tape off, do the feeding, do the cleaning, and refresh with brand new tape. As you can imagine, if you're doing this 5 to 7 times a day, the skin is getting a little raw, it itches, and it gets irritated, and it can even progress to infection. Unfortunately, this is the most common way that's used to take care of the PEG, because you have to be careful it doesn't get broken off or fall out. Well, fortunately, when my husband was on his journey with ALS and he ended up with his feeding tube, we were shown a different method. Instead of tape, they gave us this. It's just a stretchy tube. They put it over his head so it sat over the PEG. Then when he needed feeding, he just pushed it out of the way. We did the feeding, cleaning, and then we pulled it back up and covered it up again. It did the job. Well, after we had the surgery, we went as usual to our next support group meeting, which we held monthly. At these support group meetings for the ALS patients and their caregivers, we would share notes about things that are going on, challenges we were facing, and how life was going. One of the other patients, his name is Leo, was sharing how his skin was itching because he just had a feeding tube installed, and now the tape hurt. Well, we shared our example of what we were doing, and they were very happy, both he and his wife, to find that there was another solution. Therefore, our first product with Patient Comfort is the mesh band. It is a circular, seamless band of stretchy fabric, about 6 inches wide, washable, very simple to use, similar to that tube top I just showed you, and it is designed for the PEG, although if there's other uses for it, that's great. It goes over the head, worn around the torso right where the PEG is. Very simple to use. When you need to use the PEG, you just push the mesh belt out of the way, just slide it down or up to free the PEG. Then after you use and clean the area, you just slip the mesh band right back over the top of the PEG. So the value proposition for the mesh band is that it acts as a safe pocket for the PEG if it's close to the body, protecting it. It's easy access, easy on and off over the head, no unpleasant side effects like skin damage. And it's easy to care for because you can throw it in the washing machine or just rinse it out in the sink with soap and water and hang it up to dry. It is expected to last about 90 days based on rotation of 2 units, one in use 24/7 while the other one's being washed, and then you just swap them out. The development to date is that we have defined the product specifications, whereas manufacturing, testing, and the patent work is pending funding. In this industry, the medical supply industry, it's a mature stage. So growth and technical advances are focused on new products that solve or remedy previously untreatable diseases or conditions. Solid growth is predicted over the next 5 years, 3.5% versus the GDP of 1.8. It's highly competitive because there's over 6,000 companies. So they're trying to consolidate pretty quickly to better support the hospitals and medical centers. However, there still will be over 5,800 expected by 2017. The largest 2 companies' market share only 6.4 and 5.9%. So many specialize by product line. Demand is driven by healthcare providers. who choose and recommend the treatment and the products used. So that directly impacts the patients. However, the demand is indirectly impacted by patients. Baby boomers are aging, so more money will be spent on health care. And this growth must meet the needs of the baby boomers. There are several diseases that cause the need for a PEG at some point in the journey because the patient loses the ability to swallow. ALS, stroke, Crohn's disease, and various forms of cancer can cause the need for a PEG, but they don't always. So therefore, of these 3 million patients, we're targeting 1% because we know at least 30,000 patients will need a PEG at some point. Most likely a lot more than that. So looking at this number of 30,000 patients, where we take the recommended 2 units in rotation every 3 months, means that each of these patients would purchase 8 per year, which is equivalent to 240,000 units over the course of a year, times our target retail price of $5, is $1.2 million in annual revenues. Here's an example of a patient. John has ALS. He was diagnosed 3 years ago. He's now 53. He's married to June and they have 2 wonderful kids. He was in the Marine Corps. He does have good health care because his wife June is still working. She's trying to balance caregiving with bringing home some money. He's on SSDI and Medicare, so he brings in a little bit for that. But he cannot swallow. He needs 24/7 assistance. His legs don't work, his arms don't work, and he is wheelchair bound. He tires easily and appreciates quiet. His monthly care costs can exceed $20,000 because he needs a lot of durable medical equipment. The wheelchair is expensive, there's hospital bed, and then there's the various care that he needs that comes into the home. They're on a tight budget. He does appreciate the quiet, so he will sit in his chair and enjoy the internet, TV, and movies. He does go out of the house to go to the doctor and to support group. Other concerned caregivers have also created something to help their spouse because they don't like the problems caused by the tape. This is a picture of the PEG tube management pouch. It's a square that's formed into a pouch. It's adhered to the body, but the tape is very special. It's supposed to be on the body for up to 7 days, so you're not constantly taking it off and on like regular medical tape. To use this method, you just open up the pouch to free the PEG, do the job of feeding and cleaning, and then close the pocket back up again. It retails for $19.95. Another option is the G-tube holder. It is this band that goes around the body to hold a pouch, similar to the other one, except that now you have a waistband. Again, you open up the pouch so you can get to the PEG, do the feeding, the cleaning, and then close the pouch back up again. However, this method, the belt is known to slip a little bit. It is the same price, $19.95. Another option is a PD security band. It was actually developed for a catheter, which is the use you see here, but it is recommended for PEG use. It is custom done, so you put all your information on the website, they create it for you, and it starts at $100. All of these are available online, but nobody knows about them. So tape remains the method of choice, used 99% of the time. Since we know that there are other products on the market that can do the job very well, but nobody knows about them, we know that for the mesh band to be effective and to help thousands of people, we have to let people know about it. Well, our company is located in Phoenix, Arizona, where we will first introduce and test the mesh band. Then we'll expand to Seattle, Washington, where we have many additional contacts. We will make this available throughout the United States because we will sell it online. Our marketing plan is simple: word of mouth. The key to that is the nurses that are in the hospital training the patient right after surgery. They need to know about the mesh band. and to use it as a different method. Stop using the tape, start using something that's really safe. Therefore, to reach these nurses, we will go to their educational seminars, trade shows, and other events where they will be present. We also want to impact those patients that already have a PEG. So we want to go to their support groups, talk to hospice people, nutritionists, home health care. Those are the nurses that come into the home right after the surgery. So if the nurse at the hospital didn't tell them about it, maybe the home health care person can. And then the bloggers, because they're checking on the internet. And of course the associations that support these patients. That's the American Cancer Society and the ALS Association and Ole Foundation and others. The goal, to make the mesh band become the product of choice. The strengths in this plan: we know the key leaders in the ALS community in Seattle and Phoenix. They endorse the product. They believe it's better than regular method, no skin damage or other negatives, as found out during market surveys. It's effective, inexpensive, and easy, and I know based on my personal experience that it really works. But there's risks. This is a new startup business. We need to identify the manufacturing. We also need to build networks outside the ALS Association and hospice, and we plan to do that through a strong advisory board, product testing, networking with medical suppliers, and finding that reputable manufacturer that will help us. So here's our organization chart. I'm the CEO. I'm also on the board of directors with our financial advisor and the investors. Our advisory board is made up of financial, technical, medical experts, and even a startup expert, because we know we need the support. The two paid positions are the sales team, which will start as one sales manager and a part-time administrative assistant. The sales manager is responsible to build connections in the medical community, demonstrate the product, take orders, go to all these trade shows and educational seminars, and get the word out. He will be out on the street, so it's a base wage plus commission to motivate the sales and to get him out there. Then the administrative assistant will be manning the office, doing fulfillment, answering the phones and email. I will be assisting and troubleshooting. Initially, the business will be home-based, but it will grow then to a small space in North Phoenix, where we will have the inventory and take orders, fulfillment, do all the office functions. Our storefront will be online, so we don't need to be a storefront in the office. We will be selling to medical suppliers as well as hospitals and medical centers, so we plan to sell in bulk and have it drop shipped straight from the manufacturer. We've already researched that we can use a GoDaddy.com website for our website, order fulfillment, and it will even export out the critical data that we need for our financial reporting. This is only $20 a month. And also we have a local vendor who does a great job with business communications, so that would be our phone and internet. Our anticipated startup costs are $150,000, and that includes the patent search and the process to get the patent. First year other costs are $55,000 on estimate. That's the total of $205,000. The break-even, we expect to do that in year 2 and have an ROI in year 3 of 54%, with a net profit of $291,000. If you'd like more details on the specifics of our financials, that's contained in my business plan. For the exit strategy, by year 5, we expect to sell the company to medical suppliers. The board of directors will entertain all the offers and will decide which to accept and any other additional details. And the board of directors does include the investors, so he has a significant say in the process. Therefore, for this $200,000 investment, it will engender 40% share of the company, therefore proceeds in the sale of the company, as well as a seat on the board, and the opportunity to help many thousands of people who are fighting serious illnesses and suffering with unnecessary skin infections. Thank you for your consideration.